let's just cut to the chase with this one. This year, almost every single award that is going to be given out or has been given out is basically stupid. Like, this year we haven't seen too many Ballon d'Or or Player of the Year level seasons for winning squads. Like, this year we had Phil Foden win PFA Player of the Year. He was great this year. But he only really picked up inside those last couple matches to win the league, which of course are the most important. But he shouldn't really be winning the PFA Player of the Year based off that. But who else are you going to give it to? I mean, in my opinion, you give it to Cole Palmer. I mean, most amount of goals and assists. But Chelsea finished 5th, 6th. I mean, way underperforming what they're meant to do. You can't give it to him. You can give it to Haaland, but I mean, although he scored an unbelievable amount of goals, I mean, he didn't replicate what he did last year. So are you just saying that the entire league standard fell off? Give it to Rodri, but you didn't give it to him last year when he was probably more influential in a better squad. You give it to Saka or Declan Rice or somebody in Arsenal who played really well, but they didn't win the league, and that was their entire point of their season. So what's the point of that? Same thing with Liverpool. You give it to somebody on Aston Villa, but I mean, who would you give it to? Ollie Watkins? That could be a fair shout, but I mean, he scored less goals than Haaland and completed less things than Haaland. Why not just give it to Haaland? I mean, same thing goes for Manager of the Year. This year, I think they gave it to Pep Guardiola, but he probably easily had the best squad in the league, so that's just kind of expected of it. But again, who else are you going to give it to? You're going to give it to Mikel Arteta? Okay, well, he underperformed. He was inside title race last season and lost. He was meant to win it this season. Or are you going to give it to Jurgen Klopp? Well, he just left, and he finished 3rd. I'd probably say Unai Emery. I mean, he way overachieved with that Aston Villa squad, but I mean, at that point, I mean, that's probably the strongest one that you can give it to. Other people are saying Ange Postecoglou. You can't really give it to him. He Spurs bottled 4th. Probably not giving it to Pochettino due to the disastrous start to the season. Then we don't even bring up Ten Hag. Oliver Glasner and Areola only really started to pick up steam near the end of the season. So you're going to give it to. Now, those are all past awards that have already been given out. Now let's look towards the future. The Ballon d'Or has been given out, but who are you going to give that to? I think the favorite right now is probably Vinicius Jr., but I mean, he's been very important to the La Liga and Champions League winning squad of Spain. I mean, not Spain, Real Madrid. But he's disappointed for Brazil. He hasn't been that terrible. He isn't like the reason that they won. Okay, well, you could probably give it to Garnacho. He's been pretty. Not Garnacho. Nacho. Garnacho definitely does not deserve to win it. Maybe in the future. But Nacho, I mean, he was pretty important for Spain and Real Madrid. Won it all. But number one, he's a defender, and number two, he wasn't that important. So how important do you have to be to a winning squad? Do you have to be part of a winning squad? If you don't have to be part of a winning squad, then who do you give it to? Do you just give it to the best performing player? Because then you can bring out players like Cole Palmer, who their club massively underperformed, but they performed very well. But I mean, you're not going to give it to a guy who finished 6th inside the Premier League. Come on now, there has to be some level of respect. You give it to Haaland, but Haaland had a much better year last year, and you didn't give it to him, so you can't really give it to him now because he did worse. And also, you know, all he really did was win the Premier League. I mean, that sounds like a lot, but after winning a treble, it doesn't really seem like a lot. Same thing goes with Rodri. Same thing goes with Phil Foden and all the Man City players. So who do you give it to? I mean, another strong candidate would be Kane, but again, he won nothing. You could give it to somebody like Wirtz. I think Wirtz has a strong uh, candidate for the Ballon d'Or because he did the unbelievable. He helped with the unbelievable invincible season at Bayer Leverkusen, got their team to the Europa League final, and won the DFB Pokal. I mean, that's very impressive, but I mean, go back to that Europa League statement. He was playing in the Europa League. He wasn't even playing in the Champions League. And I think that's a massive hesitancy. You're not going to give it somebody. You're going to give it somebody who's had secondary competition. I mean, I would, but that's very, very uncommon. I mean, maybe you can give it to somebody like, and this is going to hurt me, but Lamine Yamal. But number one, he's only 16, and he wasn't the player for Spain. But again, he's been probably, in my opinion, the most impressive player of the year. But I don't know. I mean, who are you going to give the awards to? I mean, this year's been great, but there hasn't been like the player like we've had in last years with Messi, Ronaldo, Holland, Kaká, all those players who had like the player of the year. But I don't know. Yeah, maybe give it to Cole Palmer.